to the socio-economic conditions of the wives and orphans of our comrades who paid the price with their lives. But before anything else, I would like us to take a minute to pray for the repose of the souls of our comrades who fell on the field of honor for the homeland. We pray for them. We continue to pray for all those who have gone beyond. But we do not mourn them because we do not want to continue to pity ourselves. We will avenge them. We will avenge them forever. All those who have taken against our homeland will pay. Burkina Faso will be the graveyard of terrorism. I promise you that. We will ensure that we continue the equipping, training, and recruitment of Burkinabe youth to defend our homeland, and that we can bring the much anticipated development to Burkina Faso for the happiness of our people. So be honored for those who sacrificed their lives so that we could be here today, and continue to pray for all those who keep fighting for our homeland to endure. This is a that has been imposed on us. We have no choice but to, and that is what we are doing. Today more than ever, we have the initiative on the ground, and we are avenging day by day all those who, since 2015, have lost their lives in the fight. We cannot imagine the pain of each and every one, but we know that you are the heroes. During our absences, God knows how you suffer. Whether we return or not, the women continue to suffer at home. The children suffer greatly from our absence. It's painful, but be sure of one thing. It's for the homeland. And all we can do is think about how to take care of you so that this pain can be alleviated. I think that is the very essence of this conference that has brought you together, so that we can find solutions that come from you. It must be said, it's been 10 years. The first terrorist acts appeared in Burkina Faso since 2015. But in 2023, I therefore requested that we have a fairly clear database, first on the injured or their care after making them visible at the camp, Sanguinet Hospital. We realized that we do not have comprehensive records of our injured. We also held a conference with them last year, which allowed us to come up with many more solutions. However, it is still necessary to have a clear record. This allowed us to simultaneously reflect on the record. If we do not have the records of our injured, we need to see if we have the records of those who remain after our fallen heroes, that is, the widows and orphans. We also realized that we do not have a reliable database. That's why I think that recently we have been working to develop an application from which people can register. I have been informed, in any case, that the application is ready and should be launched in the coming hours or days. All mechanisms will be implemented to assist those who cannot register, to accompany them so they can register and provide us first with a comprehensive, clear record of all those who have sacrificed everything for the country. It is from there that we can truly support the wives that you are and our children, whom you continue to support. But before all that, we have taken a number of measures to be able to support as much as possible. The record will therefore provide us with the scope of the situation and allow us to take appropriate measures. It is in this sense that ASUVIC was created, because if we want to effectively act in favor of our wounded, widows and orphans, we need to have an agency specifically dedicated to this. Because there are many services, and I know that many of you are often bothered even by the array of the association or services that keep calling you left and right for certain things. We want to standardize all this data. That's why ASUVIC was created. I think you will contribute through representatives at ASUVIC to handle a certain amount of data. I am already pleased with the first point that was raised, namely finding an umbrella organization that will bring together all the widows in Burkina Faso. That's already a very good start. With the database, I think it will be very easy to do. It is from there that we will be able to act consistently in your favor. Returning to the point that was raised here, when I consider the case of the empowerment of women like you, women, as you said, are obliged to move towards that, so that every woman can have enough to feed her family. That is the very essence of what we want to do. It is an imperative. Otherwise, how are we going to educate the children? How are we going to take care of the children? So, in this context, you mentioned a number of measures that can be considered, and we will think about the case of those who have attended vocational schools, academic degrees. The Ministry of Public Service is already considering this on the issue of quotas. Notably also the training centers that we have already initiated on a small scale, but it is not yet widespread. And I say again, the file will allow us to have a mapping because there are those who are in the big cities. But it is necessary that through the files we can know how many women come from Gurum, how many women come from I, U, Nuna, and so on. This will allow us to have, based on the geographical situation, the proportion of women for whom we can decide to set up the specific centers in certain parts of the country to provide support. But already, with everything you have said, can I tell you something? We are in a dynamic of being able to integrate you gradually, whether it is those who have diplomas or those who do not. Already, those who benefit from training, whether in agriculture, soap making, catering, and others, we are in the process of restructuring many funds at the government level. So this year I was able to see the report, for example, of the fund we named Faso Kunubi. They have provided loans amounting to nearly 7 billion. But for those who benefit from the loan, the objective for which they take the loan, I have given instructions to redirect the loans towards quite strategic objectives. You will be able to benefit from loans in these structures. The FARF, which you know well, we are also in the process of revitalizing. This is in favor of all women. And if the file is clear, we can therefore have particular advantages so that you can also have funds there to be able to establish yourself. There is the fund that existed for financial inclusion, which we recently transformed into an agency in the Council of Ministers, if you have followed. It has become the agency for the promotion of financial inclusion, and we want to equip them so they can support you. And it is truly the fund that is also dedicated to small and very small businesses, especially women entrepreneurs, to be able to have the minimum credit and be autonomous in their employment. In addition to all this, those who want to venture into agriculture or agricultural processing, we also want to replenish the Tungafa fund so that you can apply. And once we have a clear enough file, if you apply, then if you apply, LASFOBIC will see how to interact with all these funds to facilitate things for you and especially to monitor what you will undertake. So we do not wish to just train you and leave you. We want to train you, support you to set up and enable you to work. When I take, for example, the field of soap, the one who produces soap, it's not just about producing. Often selling also becomes complicated. So we have also undertaken measures already with the Prime Minister so that our administration can consume what we process locally. Therefore, instructions have already been given or will be given so that through the umbrella organization we can consume what you will be able to process. Thus, you will be given priority in all the markets that will be conducted at the level of all the administrations in Burkina Faso. And we are also in the process of wanting to even set up an industrial unit in the context of the supply office. There will be several industrial units for processing, because as part of the agricultural initiative, we are working on a section for the military, and we are training the defense and security forces to produce. And who will process the production? It's you, and we will set up industrial units on site so that you can work in these units and be able to process what the military will produce so that it can also be distributed at the level of the Army Supply Office. So on this aspect, we are not worried. We have already taken many initiatives, and we have a fairly clear plan so that you can be employed properly and be at ease. All we ask of you is to really register on the platform so that we have a clear record. And then Lasrovic can support you in everything you want to undertake. Already some industrial units have been launched, notably Texforce, which is the Army's power textile industry. I think that you two are prioritized for everything related to employment. So at the level of this industrial unit in Burkinafaso, I will inform you that you are prioritized in these recruitments up to a certain category that is not technical, particularly related to machine operations and everything involved. So there are many initiatives being taken in this direction so that you can truly be autonomous. And for me, as I say, I was telling the young people and everyone, the idea is not necessarily to integrate people into the public service, because I say we need to remove the mindset of public service from our heads, but we need to be able to produce wealth. There you go. So entrepreneurship, industries, we are engaged in this process so that you can truly have decent, permanent jobs and be able to take care of families. And still speaking in this direction, as you requested to create more training centers, the mapping will allow us to know which ones. Decide what type of center to have and where to create it. You see, if we create centers without knowing where the widows are concentrated, where the orphans are concentrated, we won't be able to be effective. So through registration on the platform, we will be able to map out and choose suitable locations to establish training centers, train you, and integrate you into everything we do in terms of industrialization. We are just at the beginning. I can assure you that there will be many industries established in Burkina Faso by both the private and public sectors. And with the private sector as well, we are in discussions with them so that if they create companies, you will be prioritized for certain jobs. And I think many people have embraced this. In particular, I visited the waste treatment industry in Bosodo, where almost 100% of the women working there are FDS. Regarding the salary delegation, I even asked the question just today, and I was reassured that the process is almost complete. So I think that in the coming days it will be resolved. Therefore, when we are aware of all the suffering behind this situation, but I think it's almost okay now. It often takes a bit of time because all of this is related to the lack of files. The lack of files is really a very serious problem. Once all of this is resolved, I think it will function better. Because if we don't know, anyone could come forward claiming to be our women, wives of fallen heroes. But a certain minimum of proof is required. You yourself have mentioned the conflict often between in-laws and the estate. It's not easy. We have experienced this kind of situation. And all precautions must be taken to ensure you are the beneficiary. Regarding the harmonization of decrees, I think this is a point that we will quickly address at the level of the National Armed Forces and Internal Security Forces to see how we can harmonize compensations and to explore all feasible options. On this aspect as well, I think you're gradually seeing the establishment of the COMIPEC, which is being set up. These issues of compensation and all that will soon be transferred to the COMIPEC because it really creates a lot of problems for families. We have been on the ground. We have witnessed these situations. Personally, I lost a soldier in the meantime. In addition to compensation within the unit, we often contribute to support our wife and children who remain. But for the first time, I lost a man I admit I was very disappointed. Because what we contributed in the unit and gave, the wife received nothing. It was really a shock. We had to contribute again as best we could and support her. That's why I say to take into account this issue of compensation at the level of Comipec, because you see, no one wants to lose a man on the field. But if someone falls for the homeland, we shouldn't just see the money that will be given afterward. And data like that, well, what's it going to be used for? Nothing. So I say to think about it, or not even to compensate a cost like that, but to be able to develop something for the widow and orphans who can benefit from it. Already, we have modified the Code of Persons and Family. You have seen that we have now legalized customary marriage. So those who do not want to go before the mayor, I think it will be valid from now on. We are waiting for the assembly to adopt it so that we can move forward. Because, well, it's our culture, we get married like that. We don't know why people said that you must necessarily have a marriage from elsewhere to be recognized. No, we are used to getting married like this. So we decided to modify the Code of Persons and Family. Let it be recognized whether one gets married in a church, a mosque, or through traditional marriage, that we can recognize it and make a clear document, and it will be valid in the eyes of the law. And even at the level of Comipec, the soldier must be able to declare who is his wife or concubine and his dependents. Enrollment is done with all these records, so that in case you never know, within Comipec as well, I emphasize this a lot because we have planned many things there to be able to support you. In particular, we have planned a solidarity fund there. We make deductions, we check. There is a mandatory savings. You never know, because as a soldier, anything can happen at any time. But we want that if it happens, the families are not in a very complex situation. So it's not only at the level of the National Armed Forces, but the commune also considers all internal security forces. For social housing, there is no problem. I think these are reflections we are going to undertake. I will already give you my vision. I know that many people are aware of it. We cannot continue to build isolated social housing as we do. So I told the minister to switch to the apartment system. We need to build upwards and have apartments. When the state is able to do it, we will see how we can make concessions. And as I said, even through the commune, we want to see how the military can truly have this type of housing and be secure once again. Because if we have to continue with social housing as we do, with the living room, 2-bedroom living rooms, we're scattered. When we are 50 million, how are we going to manage? We will no longer farm. Because we will build all over Burkina Faso, there will be no more land. Everyone will have their plot and we won't manage. So I said to stop all that so we can start building upwards. And so the current focus is on that so we can begin the work. And in this, we will have apartments with a social housing system. And people will be safe in their homes. And that people will be safe in their homes, having a roof over one's head is the most important thing, and being truly safe. So these are aspects that ASOVIC can consider when the time comes. We will see what staggered facilities we can have at the level of the electric community to facilitate this. Regarding compensation files, exactly, we talked about it. Even obtaining the death certificate is a whole problem. We too have faced this. As I said, once you lose a man in the field, as a unit leader, you cannot just walk away from the situation. You have to ensure whether the death certificate is issued. Has the family received their entitlements? I have experienced those situations where you have to endure hardship. I have already given instructions to certain ministers responsible for this aspect so that, for example, if someone has died while on assignment in a given municipality, we need to find a way for some documents to be processed centrally instead of having to go back there to complete certain paperwork. This has been taken into account and it is in the process of being resolved if it hasn't been done already. We will set up a one-stop shop so that if someone comes from a province to process compensation paperwork, they won't have to make countless trips back and forth to Ouagadougou or Bobo And if the person comes for 1 day or 2 days at most in the same place, they are done, and then it's okay. So that has already been taken into account. And soon, I hope we will provide you with the process and show you the one-stop shops that will be set up for this aspect. For the wards, as I already mentioned, we are proceeding gradually through the Ministry of Justice. You follow little by little. They study the files and we work to classify people on the list of wards of the nation. But in addition to all that, there are many things planned because it is intended to build schools specifically for the wards of the nation to take care of them. That it be entirely free with all the necessary amenities. If they want to be boarded, they can be boarded. For those who do not want to be boarded, who want to come and go, in any case, we will do everything possible. And not only will they be among themselves, other people could join, but the schools will be intended for the wards of the nation. And in addition to all that, I try to run the school, certainly. But it's necessary to follow them and be able to integrate them. So a lot of data has already been patched up, and we have, I would say, a technical itinerary for the wards. Because no matter what is said, if someone has sacrificed themselves for the country, we cannot leave their child like that. So many measures have been taken. In addition to schooling them, allowing them to go to school peacefully, we have prepared the ground so that they can be employed once they reach adulthood, or at least reach a certain level of qualification, so they can be integrated into, there you go, have a job. So that's already thought out. And only the implementation of the first class remains, which are the schools for the nation's wards. So we thought about it. We found a school model, and that's what people have started to build little by little. So in 2025, it's not certain that we will have many schools built, but in 2026, we'll see. If we reach the number, we will already create the first schools for the nation's wards with the necessary boarding facilities. And there they will learn many things. There you go, to be able to be autonomous when the time comes. Regarding the psychosocial support, well, I think the army itself didn't have psychologists like that, you know. No matter what is said in the early moments, you need a certain amount of psychological support. But we have regretted a lot, and we hope to be able to act very soon. And on the social aspect, I think there are many structures already acting, notably social action, and a number of services within the army. And there are also donations made from time to time, and we try as much as we can to support. But it's still not enough. We will continue to emphasize and especially to digitize all of this so that it is truly optimal. I know that not all grievances have been mentioned. I am waiting for the final document to see everything that is in it and to review the implementation point by point. What can be implemented urgently and what can therefore be deferred gradually. But one thing is certain, everything will contribute to the well-being of those who are the heroes. I call you the heroes because I like to tell people that we who go to battle, we are not the heroes, you know. It's you who are behind us. I spent sleepless nights thinking, pondering everything that could happen. You are the heroes, and you are the ones who take care of the families behind us. The military is never there. Every day on the field with the intensity, it's not easy. So everything has been thought out to take care of you, and so that you can take care of our little one, and he can be integrated smoothly. So rest assured that this conference, the goal was to find solutions coming from yourselves, and that we could thus enrich our thinking and enable you to be autonomous. So many government members are here. The ZOWIG will work with the different funds and see how we can support you in the entrepreneurship project, and also follow up with you, especially because the idea is not just to give a loan to someone, but to support the person so that it can be useful. So the ZOWIG will coordinate with all the structures that might be interested. So as BOVIC will coordinate with all the structures that might be interested in this field. and support you to become autonomous. I can only wish you good luck, because you are the most resilient of our homeland. And continue in this direction, and be assured that this fight we have almost won. We will win. Our Burkina Faso will be at peace, because it is the price our fallen comrade paid for Burkina Faso to be at peace. We assure you that Burkina will be at peace. You will be able to live with dignity, and our children will grow up in a prosperous Burkina. We are giving you this assurance. To those who have come from all corners of Burkina Faso, may God bring you back in peace, safe and sound. And above all, long live our dear homeland. Homeland or death, we shall overcome. Thank you very much for your work.